president of Operation Karen Comfort, and we met Julie through trying to do it. And Julie is the one that brought to us 2 of the veterans' families that we adopted through Operation Secret Elves for the holidays. So Julie, welcome, and we're looking forward to your presentation.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I'm excited to be able to speak to your group. You know, I lived in Willow Glen up until about 8 years ago when my husband and I moved up to Fairfield. And we actually have been partnering with a group up here in Fairfield on a few events as well. So it's really a pleasure to be here with you. I'll just give you a little bit of a brief introduction and how Operation Care and Comfort got started. Oh, welcome to my living room, by the way. So Operation Care and Comfort, we're really excited that this is our 20th year. We're celebrating our 20th year of supporting troops, veterans, and their families. That includes Gold Star families, so someone that's lost somebody in the war. We started Operation Care and Comfort in my garage in Willow Glen in 2003. And the way it got started was I was putting care packages together with another volunteer group, and they fell apart, you know, after a few months. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of money, a lot of effort to do what we do. And this little group fell apart, and they left a storage unit full of donations, which were to have been sent overseas. So I took all of that to my house. I had just moved into the house in Willow Glen and started putting care packages together. And I thought, you know, I'll just do this until the supplies are overseas. I'll get it overseas somehow, and, you know, we'll be done with it. At least, you know, I did what, you know, I felt we had to do. And little did I know that 20 years later, you know, here we are, still thriving, still a 100% volunteer group. Nobody's ever been paid for what we do. And that's just the way it will remain. So, you know, the first 19 recipients of care packages from my garage, well, I started putting boxes together and sorting through all the stuff, thinking, how am I going to get this overseas? And my sister worked for San Jose Police Department and said, you know, we have 19 officers that deployed all at the same time. Remember, this is 2003. Things are just starting in Iraq. And so she said, if we help you put care packages together, you know, 19 boxes, can you get them overseas for us? And of course I said, sure, you know, we'll do that, you know, still figuring out how to do it, but yeah, we'll get those overseas. And those 19 boxes were the first boxes that we shipped from my garage. Fortunately, I had met somebody that was a volunteer at the Red Cross there in Silicon Valley. Back then it was called Santa Clara chapter, or Santa Clara Valley chapter, and he had money and I had stuff. So we partnered together, and I would put the packages together in my garage. He'd come once a week and pick them up and send them overseas. And that's really how Operation Care and Comfort started. So, you know, one of the things about care packages is, you know, I feel there's not a better beneficiary than the folks that receive the care that we give them. You know, the military and veterans are just near and dear to my heart. My dad served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And my other older brother served in the Navy during Vietnam. My dad was actually a kamikaze fighter. His destroyer was hit by kamikaze fire. And it was just kind of a remarkable thing. And my husband and I didn't serve, so I felt it was my chance to do something for our country and for those who served. One of the things about the military, are there any veterans in the group there? I can see all of you. You all look wonderful today, by the way. Any veterans in the group? No?
That's surprising.
No, but my dad and my brother both served.
Okay, and who else? Who else had a brother, father, mother, aunt, uncle serve? Probably just about everybody. Or has a, right. Yeah, I mean, it's just really everybody pretty much has a connection to somebody in the military. It's very rare that you don't. One of the things that I found is that they're one of the most loyal groups of folks. Not only do they serve our country, but, you know, when often when we send care packages, we gain friends that we may have for the rest of our lives. Some of them are, maybe a colonel or a staff sergeant who asked for the care packages, and then we won't hear from them again until they deploy again. And it's like, oh, it's me again. This time we're here. Okay, now, so every time they deploy, we'll hear from them. And others, are here from the Bay Area, and they are, we'll see them because we have 2 other programs, our Tickets for Troops program, and also a support program. So often they'll come out and volunteer. This last Monday, we meet every single Monday to put our care packages together. And when we do, sometimes we'll have military and veterans come out. So last Monday, we had the Coast Guard and Navy come out and volunteer and help us put care packages together and sort through a bunch of donations that we received. So I got to tell you that, the first 19 boxes that I sent out, we didn't have a name of the organization. So I think the label said something like Julie DeMaria and San Jose Police Department, and I remember that there was only 19 boxes. So I, kind of like a dork, kind of scribbled little red, white, and blue stars and stripes on the label, and, off went these packages. And, I was surprised that out of, all of the 19, I received a couple of letters back. And one was from a buddy of mine, Frank Keffer. Frank Keffer is a combat veteran. He's a retired San Jose police officer, and he's my family. I love him. So I've known Frank for 20 years, and it started with, letters back and forth because they didn't even have the internet in the first days. When Frank came home, one of the things that started, he was there 18 months, he was deployed 18 months. And that was back when they kept extending these deployments. And Frank was coming back home with his group, the 341st MP Company. They had a big welcome home at Moffett Field. And I was on the committee to put this welcome home together, but I couldn't attend it. I was actually gone. So, I had people calling me, telling me the door is opening to the plane, the guys are coming out, and all this stuff. And, it was just kind of a cool thing to be a part of. But little did I know that Frank would become part of my family. And I want to introduce you to Frank because he's actually on this call. I asked him to join us today, Frank Keffer. He's our board vice president. He can't retire until I retire. From this. So we're stuck with each other for life, but he is like a brother to me and I love him dearly. But one of the biggest surprises, and I'm going to let Frank tell you a little bit about his story too, because I'm just the founder, but the true stories are with those that served. But one of the things that happened that was a huge surprise to me was that, and Frank will tell you about these boxes, but one Christmas, Frank and his family came over and he had a little gift for me. And I thought it would be something, a frame with San Francisco Giants stuff in it. I'm a huge Giants fan. And opened it up and I was amazed at what he had for me. And I was shocked and we both cried. Well, I cried first and then I made him cry. But what Frank gave me was something that I'm going to share with you today. And it will show how much these care packages mean to the troops. So I'm going to get up for a minute and show you what Frank gave me. Frank, you know what it is already. It's not a surprise. Do you see this?
Yes.
Frank actually saved the box that where I wrote his address. And do you see the stars and stripes in my scroll? It meant so much, and you can't really see the photos that much, but sorry for my screen, but see the big pile of boxes there?
Yeah.
But those were the rest of the care packages that went out to him later. So he actually, I guess it meant enough to him to receive that box that he saved the top of the box. I had no idea until probably 10 years after he came home. So without saying anything more about what we do, and I am watching the time, folks, I'm going to have Frank tell you a little bit about his story and about how much he adores me. So here you go, Frank. Go ahead.
I excuse me. Thank you for having me, and I do adore Julie, and she's brought me to tears again.
Oh God, sorry.
Um,
I'm sorry, Frank.
Frank, we like your t-shirt. A lot of us have that same shirt from the San Jose Giants.
it's the churros.
Yeah.
The churros are the best.
Even after 20 years, it has a profound effect on me. And I can't believe it's been 20 years.
Crazy.
It just, I kind of understand now with my dad. He was a Vietnam vet at the time, and it just never seems to go away. But receiving a care package or mail or anything from home is one of the most, like I said, impactful and meaningful things to somebody who's deployed. And even to this day, I go out and I check the mail as soon as I get home because it's ingrained in me. And you know, even if it's that pile of junk mail from, you know, everybody, the roofers and the come clean your carpets and whoever, but it has your name on it. And so, you may never hear from somebody like me after you have sent packages, but know that you've done an amazing thing. You've supported, you've helped. And it's not like some other things where you see a hurricane somewhere or a earthquake in this island and stuff, and you write a check and you never know if your money went to that purpose or it's doing what you want and hope that they would do. And we are doing that. We believe 100% in donor intent. And we honor that. We honor you and we appreciate it. It's like Christmas getting the mail. That first time after I got that box from Julie, I was in Kuwait. We were waiting to get sent up into Iraq with our orders. And we were in this giant warehouse, and there's probably about 300 of us in there. The temperature was 112, 115 degrees. And we had a swamp cooler to cool us down to about 108. And I was just sitting on my bunk, and somebody brought up this box to me. I had no idea who it was from. And back then I didn't expect anything outside of my family, my girlfriend, who's my wife now, and some friends coming from the Bay Area. You know, the Bay Area is uber liberal, left leaning, and even if you remember, some of the cities back then were denouncing the war. And so I get this box from somebody I did not know, and like you saw, it was all decorated red, white, and blue, and I opened it, and inside was some gum and some peanuts and pen and paper to write home with some pre-stamped envelopes. And then it had a a San Francisco Giants hat in it, a San Jose Sharks t-shirt, and I was just blown away. For somebody to take the time and do this for me, just meant everything. And I was teary-eyed then, you know, this supposedly big, tough Army guy. And here I am crying. And so I wrote Julie back. I thanked her. I said, God bless this lady. She's, you know, she's doing her good deed. I'll never hear from her again. Thanks. And that opened the floodgates. We went up into Iraq, and every month we were there, Julie mailed me boxes, and it was amazing. The first time we were in Iraq, and we sent people down to go get supplies and mail, and they came back, and everybody came running out of their tents, excited to see, you know, our little caravan back with supplies, and they passed out some letters, and then they went to the trailer they had and opened up the trailer, and it was full of boxes, and people were more excited, and they're bringing out all these big boxes, 19 big boxes, 18 or 19 of them. And each one, Kefir. They were all addressed to me. And everybody else was like, what the hell's going on here? And so somebody said, yeah, Kefir got all this mail, and he got so much mail, nobody else could have any. And that didn't go over well with 120 people with guns, right? And so I opened them up, and it was gum and food and snacks and frisbees and footballs. And so I passed it all out and gave people stuff and kind of quelled the masses there. And she got me through almost 14 months of hell. And I knew that I had to come home and be a part of this to ensure that other service members received these boxes of joy, and to spread the love. And we know some people, and maybe some of our families we don't get along with, and we don't think we'll be in contact with. And it's same in the military. We have military folks who receive zero from home. And so we want to be able to step in and do that. And we partner with some chaplains and be able to get boxes and gifts or boxes and stuff to those service members who don't get anything. And so it is so fulfilling to be a part of OCC. It gives me a purpose in life. I know I'm doing more good here with OCC than I could have ever done staying in the military. And without groups and people like you all, we wouldn't have an OCC. We have such a great partnership with people and groups, and we wouldn't be here 20 years later. And I thank you for this opportunity. I'm starting to babble on, so I'm gonna stop talking. But we appreciate you all, and we appreciate your time and effort, and know that what you're doing is serving a purpose, and it's helping, and it means so much. And I'm proof of that. Thank you.
Well, and one of the things, yes. So one of the things too that we love the most about it is working with kids. So, you know, as a mom of two boys, they're 5 years apart. Now they're 35 and 30. They're not kids anymore. They would volunteer, and I would make sure they volunteered. So when I started OCC, and it really started, growing, I wanted to have an organization where kids could volunteer. So we're kind of famous for the fact that we allow people aged 5 and up, 5, to volunteer. Okay, most people aren't that crazy, because when you have little kids volunteering, you know, there's a little bit more chaos and all of that, but we love it. And there are some kids that would come out when they were elementary school, they would continue through high school, and even once they get a job, then they want their company to support what we do. But I've got to share a cute little project that a school in Monterey did this week. Care packages can be anything. They could be the boxes, they could be Ziploc bags, they could have contents that you have laying around in your house. For an example, you give to a charity, you give $10 to a charity and you end up getting $100 worth of little notepads and pens and you name it come in the mail. Well, all of that stuff, people donate all of that stuff and it goes into our care packages. Care packages to us can be bags that we put together for hospitalized veterans, homeless veterans. We do some for female troops, moms, dads, all kinds of things. But this one little group of about 20, 25 second grade kids in a Catholic school in Monterey wanted to do a project for the military. And I told them about how other groups take plain white pillowcases and they decorate them, and how the troops love them because when they get them overseas, they never lose their pillow, okay, on their bunk, and they use it later to put all their things in when they're going home. Well, these kids went way beyond. Not only did they decorate these pillowcases, but they stuffed them full of care package supplies. I've got to show you one of them. They're so cute. And I've got a pile of them in my living room, but can you see that? So they made about 25 of these and they're all decorated differently. And what I love about it is that they're very patriotic. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all you do. Come home safely. You're in my prayers. You can only imagine being a tough guy like Frank, retired cop, being over there somewhere and receiving a bag like this full of all kinds of snacks and goodies from these cute little kids. And every one of them wrote a letter. That's what care packages are all about. So one of the things when Frank came home, here's a little bit more of the story. And I hope I'm not running too late. Please let me know. Do this if it's like too much. When Frank came home, when he was coming home, somebody had mentioned that, these guys and girls have been gone so long from their families. We should do something for them so that they can do, have something fun to do with their families when they get home. So this was in 2004, and I happened to be working with the San Francisco Giants on their very first salute to the military game. The Giants were the first team in the Bay Area to do this and have done it every year since, which is amazing. So anyway, I was working with the Giants on their game, and I actually asked them, I said, would you be able to donate some tickets so that this military unit coming home can bring their families to a game? They haven't seen them in over a year in some cases. And the Giants said, yeah, we'll do that. And they donated a block of tickets so that some of these families from the 341st MP company could get together and just watch a game. And that, idea that started our Tickets for Troops program, where we work with all the sports teams in Northern California, venues, promoters, and they will donate tickets to us. They will get their season ticket holders and season ticket members to do it. And OCC also purchases tickets. They're given to military veterans and their families and Gold Star families absolutely free, 100%, no service charges. We want to make sure that they have something great to do with their families. Being in the Bay Area, we all know it's one of the most expensive places in the country. And these military folks that come in, to California for a couple years, they can't, they're shocked at how expensive it is for them to live here. And, people will say, well, they live on the base or they do whatever. Okay, that doesn't mean anything when, your paycheck is so little and the military is not paid well. So even being able to give families a chance to go to a Giants game, an A's game, a Sharks game, a concert. We just had comedy tickets. We purchased tickets for the Savannah Bananas that are going to be at Excite Ballpark. We sponsor with the San Francisco Giants their salute to the military game. We're going to be sponsoring the one with the A's this year on July 1st. We are working with the San Jose Giants on their opening weekend and also Memorial Day. We have a game with the San Jose Earthquakes coming up, their Classico game, and we're going to be working with the Republic in Sacramento. But with all of these, it gives these folks opportunities to not only attend games, but to be honored. We put them on the field. You know, when you see the troops on the field in their uniforms and they're holding flags or they're singing the national anthem and they're the color guards, 9 times out of 10, it's Operation Care and Comfort that's chosen those troops to be on the field in the Bay Area in Northern California. So our Tickets for Troops is our second program, but I want to briefly go into our third, and I promise I'll wrap it up. And that is our Adopt a Military Family program, which is what you were involved with during the holidays. So what in 2005, we had a group at Moffett Field, the 129th Rescue Wing, and one of their advisors contacted me and basically told me that she had a couple of airmen, this was Thanksgiving week, that had no money to buy any food for their family for the holiday. So no turkey, no nothing. They literally had no way of providing. And so Carol Ann wanted to know if we had a program where we supported something like that. Well, we didn't. But I said, you know what, this is what I'll do. Meet me and we will, my husband and I will get Safeway gift cards and give you these gift cards so that, you know, you can give it to them for the meal. Well, the interesting thing was, and I think this is a God thing, I got a call the same day from a woman who asked me if we accept food. You know, she had a couple of meals left over from a food giveaway that they did and wanted to know if we had any families that could use it. Well, here we had these 2 families. It was perfect. That started our Adopt a Military Family program. So not only do we support them during the holidays, but we, you know, it's all through the year. We just helped a veteran, 100% disabled veteran who could not pay his utility bills and got behind, and Frank worked with him and we were able to pay his bill, which was about $2,500. But, you know, we do all kinds of things like that throughout the year as well. So your help in supporting a couple of military families this past Christmas was critical. We had literally double the number of families that we usually support anonymously. And then in addition to that, Operation Care and Comfort sponsored about 10 or more military holiday parties where the troops' food is paid for because it's a drill weekend, but if their families are there, they would have to either pay for the families or the families wouldn't have anything to eat. So we went in and we catered these meals, or we paid for the bill to allow these families to get together, and it helps morale. So in short, our 3 programs, the one that people know us for really is our care package program. It's our largest program. We've shipped about 2 million pounds of care packages overseas and domestically. So probably 3 million pounds or so. I don't even know anymore. That's, you know, if we adopt a military unit, they get our boxes every month until they come home. And we currently support about 45 different units every single month without fail. Our second is our Tickets for Troops program. If you happen to have tickets that you buy or you're a season ticket holder and you can't go, you contact us, you can donate the tickets. It's a tax deductible write-off for you, and a military family gets to attend for free. And our third and last program is our support program, Adopt a Military Family program. And I know Emily loved it, and I think that she wants to support it again this coming year. And we would love that opportunity to work with you again. So I'm just going to shut up, say thank you, and see if you have any questions for Frank or me.
Wendy definitely has questions.
A couple questions for you. Again, Emily and I just are really grateful that we were able to connect and support the families. Specifically for your care package program, can you hear me?
Yes.
For your care package program, I remember when my brother was deployed in the Air Force that I would mail him packages like as much as I could, right?
Right.
And it does become a little tedious. It becomes really hard. And he at some point told me that, like, I'm like, well, who else can I mail packages to? And I was kind of trying to get names from him, and course, he's my brother and very tight-lipped and, you know, just doesn't give any information. And I'm like,
Right.
you can't mail something anonymously. So where do you find people to mail these packages to? And then, Frank, just to follow up on that, every time I mail a care package, you know, like the mother and my brother would open it up and share it with everybody in the unit as well. So I know that even if someone doesn't get a care package, they usually are a recipient of one in some fashion. But in the back of my head, I always thought, wow, how can I reach the person who doesn't have a family to mail them? And that question still haunts me today. So
Yeah.
you should
Well,
just find people.
Sure. So I'll take this one. So it's really simple. We've been doing this for so long that we're out there, and we're one of the very few organizations that's actually on the Department of Defense's website for care package organizations. I don't even know how we're still on there, quite honestly, because we're not one of the biggest, but we are. But they find us, and we work with chaplains. We work with, you know, a real typical email to me is, hey, Julie, I'm a staff sergeant. I'm requesting care packages for our military unit. I want to make sure that the guys and girls who never get mail are the first ones to be able to grab things out of the bags, you know, or the boxes and all of that. And they do. And the chaplains do the same thing. So I've had so many say, you know what, I don't need a thing. My family sends stuff, but I'm worried about, you know, my soldiers, my airmen, my sailors that don't receive anything. So I think it does get to those folks. And the interesting thing is, you know, most of our boxes have multiple letters and cards and things like that. And we've actually had troops hold on to the letter and try to come back and find the person who wrote it. So here's a true example of that. We work with Lincoln Glen, which is a retirement facility, and they have a group called Helping Hands, or they did. I don't know, they kind of stopped because of COVID, but every month we would bring them supplies and they would put the little packages together, and then we'd go pick it up and put them in our care packages. Well, they decided to put a little note in each one, and they asked some of the residents to give them a little quote, you know, like, what do you want it to say to the troops? And then they would just photocopy this and put it in all of these care packages. Well, one of them was a lady named Betty, and Betty was 90 something years old. And Betty said her little thing to the troops was, come home soon. I'm looking for a new husband. This, I'm telling you, we had more comments about that, Betty. And we actually had a troop come home, and he kept the little note from Lincoln Glen, and he went to Lincoln Glen, and he wanted to go find Betty and find these. Well, Betty was gone. She was deceased, but he spent the entire day going into every single resident's room and thanking them for the care packages and talking to them. These letters and cards mean the world to them. And I'm sure that you felt so blessed in sending these boxes to your brother, and the same thing. And think about all the people who took just the gum or just the candy bar, or whatever in that box. I mean, I don't know how many millions and millions and tens of millions of troops and veterans have received our care packages. But I know that it's remarkable. You know, the outreach is remarkable. So they come to us, and you know, everything that we do, everyone that we ship packages to have either found us through somebody else that's been there, or the chaplain's leaving, so it's like, here's the new chaplain. And so that's how we're able to get these great addresses and take care of so many.
I have a question. Sorry, so do you know Jody Johnson, that name?
Jody Johnson
Yeah.
from
we
the
used to-
DLA?
I worked with her at AG Edwards. We used to put packages together in her office at AG Edwards. And we bring
Oh.
magazines and candy and all kinds of other stuff.
Okay, I know a different Jody.
Okay.
Jody,
So-
and she's actually a retired major in the military, so I
Okay,
thought
no,
maybe you were talking about her.
Okay, anyway, so it was very cool for us to do that because we get to see where the stuff's being going, and that was kind of neat for us. But so do you have, when you say the volunteers, do you have facilities that are local here in San Jose that we could go work at, or how does that work?
We have no offices because,
Okay, but like a warehouse.
yeah, I don't spend money on that kind of, we don't spend money on stuff like that. It's just not useful. We do have storage units in Santa Clara, 3 huge storage units. And we meet, we have a group that meets every Monday, almost without fail, from 9 to 12. And some of those folks have been with me 20 years. Some have been with us 15, but it's a very social group. There's always homemade cookies and cake and you name it. I'm surprised I don't weigh 500 pounds. But we do meet every week, and we're not meeting this week. I actually told everyone to stay, and it's going to be too windy and cold because we are working out of storage units. But yes, we have a great group that meets all the time. If you wanted to do your own care package event, that's something we could do as well. We work with different Rotaries. In fact, let's see, Cupertino, we're going to be working with them on March 29th, which is Welcome Home Vietnam Vet Day. We have a care package event with them. They have an annual event with us, and we're going to be on site with them at a facility putting care packages together. So if you ever wanted to do something like that with your group, we could do something special. It could even be during, your luncheon, you could even do it on your own if you wanted to, where you collect items or you say, you know what, everybody bring some packages of beef jerky. And then you do nothing but write little notes. It could be on your a little card from your Rotary Club or something with your logo on it. And then you
Julie,
just
do you have a list? Do you have a list of items that are mostly received, like well received? Like
Yes.
that you would be popular that we need. And then Frank, a follow-up question for you would be, of the packages that you receive, I know that they're valuable and emotional in there, but of the contents that were in there, what did you find that was most useful? And then the follow-up question would be, what was an item that you found that was the most joyful? I would assume they would be 2 different items.
Yeah, Frank, you go first.
So we would only have like Julie's drinking water there, bottled water to drink every single day. And water is great, but when that's it, it's kind of like
Well, especially if it's 100-degree water, sitting on a pallet outside.
So we got powdered Gatorade, and so we had lemon Gatorade water, and that was like drinking champagne. And then eventually we got cup of noodles, and that was like eating steak, literally. And it was like amazing. And I would in the box, like there was always candy. And so I would just go through all the boxes and take out all the gum and kept the gum for myself, and then gave everybody else whatever they wanted.
And Swedish fish.
and the Swiss. Yeah. See how well Julie knows me. I think what was most meaningful were the letters and the cards that were put in the boxes, and just reading the little notes of people. Some people poured their heart out, and others was just a simple stay safe and hope you come home soon. And I think that's what's the most meaningful to people, because it's the simplest thing that people are taking their time to do that. And the time, we all, time is so precious. And so that's, to me, is what's important. And those other things are great and makes it, life and times a little easier being there, because, you can't run out and run down to 7-Eleven and pick up a Slurpee and a Snicker bar, when you're in the middle of the desert, right? And so you just learn to either do without, or you hoard all the bubble gum like I did. And the cards, and Julie said, that first box she sent me, and it was all colored up, and I held on to that for almost 14 months and brought it home to give back to Julie. And so, I know guys, they remember, and it brings back, getting that stuff.
And we do have a really good list on our website. It will also tell you what we don't want during certain times of the year. Like we don't send chocolate after March and between March and September, because it's just too darn hot, to the Middle East. But there is a list, and I will tell you that without fail, the most requested item is beef jerky. That's it. Beef jerky. That's it. But that's why I say it's a real simple thing to do. If you wanted to do your own care packages, you just, get some beef jerky, slap a little note on it, and those could go into the boxes that we put together every month. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And let's face it, everybody has stuff in their homes. Everybody has stuff in their homes to donate, hotel toiletries that you've taken, extra toothbrushes or floss from the dentist. There's just tons of stuff that we use.
We have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, hi, Julie.
Hi.
Do we need, if we put together boxes, do they need to be a specific dimension? Do you have
Guidelines.
Do they have to be 12 by 12 by 12? Or, within reason, can they be any size? And secondarily, can they be sealed, or do they need to be open so that they can be inspected and then sealed?
Right. So we use the flat rate boxes from the post office. They're 12 by 12 by 5. So that's the standard size that we use. Now, we used to, before COVID, we had big, huge public packing events at PayPal Park. Back then it was Avaya Stadium, but we had these humongous boxes, and it would literally cost, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 just in postage when we did those packing. Well, COVID put an end to that. So because of COVID, we never stopped. We never stopped putting boxes together. We continued. We added a lot of hand sanitizer and masks, but now the standard for us is the large flat rate boxes. We ship a minimum of 250 a month up to 500 a month.
And can they be sealed already? Or
Well, if you
guys need
seal
to
them,
seal them?
yeah, if you seal them, we're going to unseal them because we're going to inspect it. Some countries will not allow, they limit the number of the amount of liquids you have. There's things that we can't ship like batteries. And so we go through them and we take stuff out, no aerosols. If something like that slips through, then the box will be returned to us, and that's $20 down the drain. So I always suggest that you go ahead, put your letters on top, do whatever, give it to us. We'll just kind of go through quickly, inspect it. And then if there's room in the box for more stuff, we throw more stuff in it. We don't want, we're not shipping air. We want to have every box really full since it's $20 to send. And off it goes. And, we're very generous with giving people the praise. I don't want people sending us a bunch of emails and letters and all of that. We want the groups that do the work like this or are generous enough to support to get the letters and emails. So, we always recommend that you put a letter at the top of those box from your group. And with a great address for them to be able to send a note back. You won't always get them. I would say out of all the boxes we ship every month, we may get a couple, notes back ourselves, but yeah, that's about it. Sometimes emails.
Is that $20 a box? The shipping
Yes.
cost pretty much anywhere they go in the world for the most part, or?
That's right. And we ship so many, we use a shipping system and it discounts it, I don't know, maybe $1 or something. So it could be like $19, but yes, that goes to troops anywhere. And sometimes the boxes will arrive in a week. Sometimes, it takes longer. Sometimes it's months because they literally have to find this military unit. And if they're in the mountains in Afghanistan, like before, it could take months to find them. And there's ships, if there's a ship and they're not in port somewhere, they wait, the mail will wait for them. And then when they're somewhere in port, then they get their mail. So it's not like they're always, sending these things somehow and landing on these ships or dropping them on. So sometimes the boxes take a while to get to them, but we're able to track that.
Where does the money come from to ship those? Does that come from fundraisers? I mean, or is that subsidized by the military, or is that?
There's
Big
no,
corporation.
no. I'll tell you, I had the pleasure of meeting President Bush once, and that was the biggest question the groups asked. But, you know, the post office is run by Congress, and let's face it, they're not going to give anyone a discount because it's already losing money. So we have to pay the full amount. So we raise our funds through two major fundraisers. We have a charity poker tournament with the San Jose Giants. It's actually on June 24th, which is a Saturday. And we also have a charity golf classic up here in Fairfield. My husband's company, they're a spirits company. They're the key sponsor of this charity golf tournament, which is awesome. So we raise quite a bit of funds through there. We do get some grants from longtime supporters like Lockheed Martin and other companies. But by and large, our average donation is probably, I don't know, $50 from just folks across the country that will go to our website. Groups like yours, you know, might donate money. Other, you know, groups like yours, you know, either Rotary clubs or Lions clubs and things like that sometimes have events with us as well.
Julie, a couple follow-up questions. One, I was under the impression when someone from the United States mails a package to an APO address, that we pay the cost of that. We pay the cost of that within the United States, and then the government picks up the cost to get them wherever that person is in the military. Is that different than what? Is that not how that works?
You know what? I mean, I don't know how they break down the cost of everything. All I know is that the postage is just, well, it kind of does work that way, because if it's an APO, the boxes go to the East Coast. If it's an FPO, it's West Coast.
Right.
So you know, they used to have different fees for it. Now they just go all flat rate. Right. So it's this, yes, it's the same as you sending that same box somewhere else in our country. But the cost is the same. It's $20 whether we send it overseas or we're sending it here in the United States. We just get a little bit of a discount if it's going overseas because of the amount of boxes we're sending.
And then, okay, and then to bring this a little bit closer to the adoptive family, the conversation to adopt the veteran's family, where do you do all of the families approach you, or how do we find those families, and how many are we serving, and if there's a deficit, what is that number?
So the families do not generally come directly to us. The families are vetted by the military or the VA, different groups like that. So when we get these families, we know they're legit. Okay. We will have families find us on the internet. And if we, you know, in other states, and we have supported them. This one gentleman, Frank, he was from New Jersey, right? The veteran we just helped. So some of them are from other states, but then we vet them by going through seeing if they're in touch with the VA, and we'll talk to their veteran service officer. We'll get their paperwork, which we hate doing, and we're actually able to have someone check their background in through the military. So everyone that we support is vetted. And last year for Christmas, and what we tell everyone is we'd love to help everybody, but obviously we can't. So we're asking for families that really have a hardship. I mean, a major hardship. And that last year we supported, like you did, about 50 families. Usually it's about 25 or 30. But in addition to that, you know, we support the other families and bases and things like that through the same program. So we did the families, but we also, for an example, filled 100 handmade stockings with toiletries and snacks for the VA Martinez, so that the hospitalized veterans and the veterans going to the clinics and stuff were able to get a stocking for the holidays from us. And they actually hung them, the ones that were hospitalized, they put them in their room, you know, on their door and things like that. We put together bags for homeless veterans. We supported homeless veterans. We did a lot of things for military kids. So it really just varies.
Can I
Julie,
just,
I think we're gonna need to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Frank.
just real quick, I wanted to address the point where you said about the families and if there was enough. The unfortunate thing with military and how we're trained and brought up is you do without. If you don't have it, you do without. You make do. There's an old saying, you tighten up your bootstraps and go on. And that's how these military families fortunately live. There's a stubbornness and a pride of not asking for help when they need help. It's unfortunate. And the whole time I was in the military, I was single. I only saw it from afar. But now on this side, I see it and see it more. And this is the adopted military family, I believe, and I know Julie does too, is our most important mission that we do and help them. And like Julie said, the ones that are coming here from the Bay Area, they might have just moved from Wyoming or from Florida and elsewhere, and the sticker shock of everything here, from gas to milk to rent, is just incredible. You all know this. You know, the Mercury News, I think 3 or 4 years ago, did a study saying living in the Bay Area, the poverty level was like $98,000, right? And it's like, God, $98,000 in New Mexico or Illinois, you'd be a king. In the Bay Area, you're a pauper. And so that's these military families, because they are not making $98,000. An average soldier, sailor, Marine, Coast Guardman is probably making anywhere from $28,000 to maybe $37,000 a year. And the national poverty level for a family of 4 is, I think, $26,000. So we have some of these families just making a hair above the national poverty level.
Julie, Frank, we want to say thank you, and without a doubt, you're gonna hear from us a lot. And
Great.
if I had to send you, if you were still overseas and I had to send you a care package, I would make sure that there was a lot of Kleenex in that care package to take care of those trips. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.